To the U.S. and Russia, which are preparing for more high-stakes talks on the war in Ukraine. An anti-corruption scandal has broken wide open involving a close aide to Ukraine's President Zelensky. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, has the latest from eastern Ukraine. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Rebecca. That's right. Anti-corruption investigators raiding the home and offices of Andriy Yermak. He's the head of President Zelensky's office. He's also a hugely powerful, influential and divisive figure in Ukraine. He is, in effect, Zelensky's right-hand man, and he's leading negotiations with the US in these peace talks. Ukraine has been consumed, as you say, by this massive corruption scandal in the energy sector that's implicated a former close business partner of Zelensky and seen the resignation of 2 government ministers. And honestly, the timing couldn't be worse, because you have senior US officials heading to Moscow and to Kyiv in the next few days as part of this push by President Trump to get a deal to end the war. In an interview published Thursday, Yermak actually ruled out conceding any Ukrainian territory in talks, and in a hardline speech, Vladimir Putin overnight ruling out a ceasefire unless Ukrainian forces withdraw, and saying it's pointless signing anything with Zelensky because he lacks legitimacy. And of course, all of this leaves the chances of a rapid end to this war looking remote.
Okay, guys, welcome to the video. Um, just wanted to cover, some international topics here, because I know it's a lot of folks who, pay attention to a lot of the news coming in, from different places overseas. So I definitely want to make sure I cover a wide range of topics here. So it appears that, what they're saying is Zelensky's right-hand man, who, Zelensky is, of course, the leader of Ukraine. He's, um, his home and things like that were raided in an anti-corruption scandal. And of course, this definitely comes at really a terrible time, because President Trump is pushing for a peace talk between Ukraine and Russia. And Russia, they want um, you know Putin, he wants land that he feels that that's that land belongs to Russia. And of course, there's top advisors within Ukraine who don't want to give up that land. One thing I want to say is, man, look at the destruction. This war has been going on for several years now. Russia did think that it was going to be a very, very quick war, but it ended up being, longer than what they expected. And just look at the devastation behind this on the ground news reporter here. It's crazy, right? Like it's all like the infrastructure in that area of eastern Ukraine is done for, and it's gonna take years to build that back. But first, they have to get out of this war that they're currently in. But there's the top advisor here, or right hand man of Zelensky, he resigned, and there's several others that was within that core group of leadership in Ukraine that also resigned. And they're saying that the corruption is happening within the energy sector. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this, and how it's going to affect the peace talks that they're trying to have, because they're meeting up in neutral grounds to try to come to some type of peace. But I just heard them say that Putin is saying that there's not going to be a ceasefire, because Ukraine refuses to give up certain lands that they want. So it's kind of really been the same thing since the beginning, and a lot of people have lost their lives, of course. A lot of bad has happened, and that's the cost of war, honestly. And it's pretty sad what's going on. Hopefully, they can come to some type of agreement. Um, I'm not sure as far as terms for presidents of Russia who run Russia. I'm not Russia, but Ukraine. I'm not sure of like the terms of what's going on with that. But maybe a change of leadership, you know, I'm not sure because I know for sure that United States we've given so much money over to Ukraine to assist them and stuff like that, and just to hear that there's corruption going on, then that lets me know that our money is going into people's pockets to really fatten their pockets more so than to try to um get this war over and stuff like that. So I have another clip here. I'm gonna just let this clip play.
Anti-corruption investigators have raided the home and offices of Andrei Yermak, the head of President Zelensky's office. Yermak is a hugely powerful, influential and divisive figure in Ukraine. He is, in effect, Zelensky's right-hand man. He's leading negotiations with...
Your Mac reminds me of like somebody you would have seen in Sopranos. He really does like like a mafioso type of figure. Um but it's gonna be interesting to see, if he did have any traces of corruption, of funneling money fraudulently to places, maybe even his own bank account. But let's let the video continue. I just thought that was really funny. Like, bro, look like he's like this is a scene straight out of The Sopranos or something.
with the US in peace talks as well. Ukraine, of course, has been consumed by this massive, sprawling corruption scandal in the energy sector that's implicated a former close business partner of Zelensky and seen the resignation of 2 government ministers. And the timing couldn't be worse because you have senior US officials heading to Moscow and to Kyiv in the next few days.
So as I was just saying, you have senior officials within the United States that's going to be headed to Moscow and headed to Kyiv, and their goal is to try to get some type of peace on the table, so that Ukrainians can go and Russians can go about living their normal lives, and that everyone um, gets what they're asking for. And like I said, this war's been going on for years. I'm sure it's people in those areas that would love for this war to be over, and for them to try to get their lives back going on track. So I mean, it's hard for me to call who's right or who's wrong in this situation. Both could be right, nobody could be wrong. But because I haven't been to Russia, I haven't been to Ukraine, and I don't really plan on going to either or. But you know, nothing comes good of war for the people. Maybe for those in power who, point fingers and push buttons, but it's people on the ground who are suffering. It's kids who have been and families who have been, displaced, and a lot of people have had to fled Ukraine. Um, and as you were seeing, in these shots here, like and this is just one shot. So just imagine, like, it's places in Ukraine that are just flattened, and you got bombs going off everywhere. You have fighting going on all around you. I really couldn't imagine being in like a area where there's like a lot of war going on. Um, you know, thankfully, I'm in the United States to where we have a very powerful military um, that controls our seas, our skies, and our land. And I'm hoping we never see the day to where we will have to walk outside and see stuff like this. Because, like I said, I couldn't imagine that being my day to day. I'm sure it's not really too many people that are populating this area. As as you see, where would they be or where would they go? And then the risk of them, risk of it being more strikes and more fighting going on in this area is very high. So again, we'll see what becomes of this anti-corruption scandal and see how it affects the peace talks between Ukraine and between Russia. That's look obviously being mediated by the United States of America. But again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And this is Justin Paul. Peace.